Please be skeptical of the sudden, coordinated wave of doom and gloom headlines. When you see a massive spike in scary stories all at once, especially ones that contradict decades of history, it is usually because a new regulatory push is happening behind the scenes. I can tell you exactly what is happening, where these new scary terms are coming from, and why it feels like a sudden campaign. The thing is actually, you are hearing about Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome, CHS. Is it new? No. It has been known for years, but it is extremely rare. What is it? It is a condition where long-term, heavy daily users develop severe nausea and vomiting, not coughing. The telltale sign is that hot showers makes it better. Why is it suddenly everywhere? Because in late 2025, just recently, the World Health Organization, WHO, finally created an official medical billing code for it. News outlets are reporting a surge in cases. It's not a new plague. It's just that hospitals are finally counting it specifically. The media is spinning this administrative change into a new deadly syndrome. 2. The coughing to death claim. This part sounds like a conflation of two different scare tactics. Scromiting. The media has started using this terrifying word to describe CHS. It stands for screaming plus vomiting. It's a real symptom of severe abdominal pain, but the media uses the word because it sounds like a horror movie. Law enforcement and the DEA have recently launched massive raids, like Operation Vape Trail, seizing millions of vapes. They justify these raids by claiming illicit vapes cause fatal lung injuries. The reality, there is no evidence of a new syndrome where people simply smoke flower and cough to death. That is classic fear-mongering. The only deaths attributed to CHS are extremely rare cases of severe dehydration from vomiting, not from the toxicity of the plant itself. Intoxicating hemp, Delta-8, etc. has been sold legally due to a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill. The crackdown, lawmakers are currently trying to close this loophole. To get the public on board with banning these products, they need to paint them as incredibly dangerous. The result? You see a coordinated media blitz, raid the vape shops, release scary reports about new syndromes, and claim these products are killing people. It manufactures consent for the bans they want to pass. The verdict: you are seeing a regulatory cleanup disguised as a public health crisis. Fact: CHS hyperemesis is real, but it affects an extreme tiny percentage of massive chronic users and is not fatal if you just stop smoking and get hydrated. Fact: the death narratives are being amplified to support new bans on hemp and vapes. My take: I look at the data. Marijuana does not chemically shut down your breathing like opioids, which cause true overdoses. The sudden hysteria you are seeing is a political tool to justify the new anti-hemp and vape shop raids.
Don't let the scromiting headlines panic you. Here is the reality. The odds of dying from Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome, CHS, are astronomically low. There have only been a handful of deaths ever attributed to CHS in medical literature, and even those were technically caused by severe dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, that led to organ failure, not the weed itself killing them. You are statistically safer smoking a joint than you are doing almost anything else. Here are 12 factual things that are statistically more likely to take you out than the Memphis herbivore syndrome, CHS. The comical, but real. Vending machines. You are more likely to be crushed to death by a vending machine you are shaking to get a free Snickers than you are to die from CHS, approximately 2 to 4 deaths per year in the US. Champagne corks. You are more likely to be killed by a flying champagne cork at a wedding than by marijuana, approximately 24 deaths per year globally. Cows. You are far more likely to be trampled or kicked to death by a cow than to die from cannabis, approximately 20 deaths per year in the US. Ants. You are more likely to be swarmed and killed by ants, usually anaphylactic shock from fire ants, than to die from CHS, approximately 30 deaths per year. Falling out of bed. You are significantly more likely to roll out of bed, hit your head, and die than to perish from scromiting, approximately 450 deaths per year in the US. The daily life, terrifyingly common. Tylenol, acetaminophen. You are infinitely more likely to die from acute liver failure caused by taking too much Tylenol, approximately 500 deaths per year in the US. Stairs. You are far more likely to trip, fall down a flight of stairs, and die than to be killed by cannabis, approximately 12,000 deaths per year in the US. Choking on food. You are much more likely to die eating your dinner tonight than you are from smoking, approximately 5,000 deaths per year in the US. Ladders. You are vastly more likely to fall off a ladder while cleaning your gutters or changing a bulb, approximately 300 deaths per year in the US. Constipation, you are actually more likely to die from straining too hard on the toilet, which can trigger cardiac events, than from CHS. Valsalva maneuver-related deaths are a recognized medical phenomenon. The political, being unarmed in a gun-free zone. Statistically, you are more likely to be a victim of a mass shooting event in a designated gun-free zone than you are to die from CHS. According to Crime Prevention Research Center data, 94% of mass public shootings occur in gun-free zones. The biblical, a donkey's jawbone. In Judges 15:15, Samson slew 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey. Since there have been fewer than 10 recorded deaths possibly linked to CHS in modern history, you are technically statistically more likely to have been slain by Samson in the Old Testament than to die from marijuana. The takeaway, the media hype is manufactured. Watch out for vending machines and cows. You'll be fine with your plant.
If you've watched the news lately, you've probably heard about a new deadly syndrome sweeping the nation. They're calling it scromiting, screaming and vomiting. Sounds terrifying, right? It sounds like something out of a horror movie. But let's be real for a second. Is this actually a public health crisis, or is it Reefer Madness 2.0 packaged up for a new generation? Here is the reality of the ER today. You walk in with severe stomach pain. The doctor asks, "Do you smoke cannabis?" You say yes. Boom. Case closed. They label you with CHS and send you home. But what happens next? We are hearing from patients constantly who were told they had CHS, only to find out a week later they actually had appendicitis, gallbladder disease, or gastroparesis. The problem? That initial CHS code stays in the system. It becomes a permanent statistic. So when you see headlines about CHS cases surging 650%, ask yourself, how many of those were real and how many were just lazy doctors looking for an easy answer? The medical reality. Now, does CHS exist? Yes. It stands for Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. It involves severe vomiting, and the telltale sign is that hot showers make it better. The World Health Organization even gave it a billing code this year, R11.16. That's actually a good thing. It helps doctors identify it so they don't remove your appendix for no reason. But the media is taking a rare condition that affects a tiny percentage of massive, long-term chronic users and acting like it's coming for everyone. The 12 Ways to Die reality check. They want you to be scared of dying from weed, so I asked my research team to look up the odds. You want to know what is statistically more likely to kill you than CHS? Vending machines. You are more likely to be crushed to death trying to get a free Snickers. Cows. You are more likely to be trampled by a heifer in a pasture. Champagne corks. You are more likely to take a cork to the temple at a wedding. Falling out of bed. You are more likely to roll out of your sleep and die. Tylenol. The stuff in everyone's medicine cabinet sends way more people to the ER for liver failure than cannabis ever will. And my personal favorite? A donkey's jawbone. Technically, since there are almost zero recorded deaths solely from CHS, you are statistically more likely to be slain by Samson from the Bible than you are to die from scromiting. So follow the money. Why the hysteria? Why now? We know that pharmaceutical companies spent over $5 billion on TV ads last year. When every news segment about scromiting is sandwiched between ads for Ozempic and Zoloft, you have to ask, who benefits from making natural medicine look scary? Big Pharma and Big Alcohol have been losing market share to cannabis for years. It's the same old playbook. Legal weed expands, people stop taking as many pills, and suddenly the media discovers a new, terrifying syndrome. Look, if you are sick, listen to your body. But we need to treat this like adults, with science, not scare tactics. Don't let them sell you fear. Stick to the facts. I'm Marky Greenthumb. Stay educated, guys.